Is she breathing? Ben Carter's hands trembled as he pulled the woman from the cold water. Her dress clung to her like a second skin, white fabric now gray with river mud. Her lips were blue. The morning sun barely touched the Wyoming hills. Mist rose from the water in ghostly columns. Ben had come to check the irrigation gates. Instead, he found her, floating, face down, like something the river wanted to keep. He turned her over. Water poured from her mouth. Her chest didn't move. "Come on," he whispered. "Come on." He pressed his hands to her ribs. Once, twice, 3 times. Water erupted from her throat. She coughed, gasped. Her eyes flew open. They were green, the color of new grass after rain, but they held nothing. No recognition, no fear, just emptiness. "You're safe," Ben said. His voice cracked. "You're safe now." She stared at him. Through him. Her lips moved but no sound came. Ben wrapped his coat around her shoulders. She was so cold. How long had she been in the water? An hour? More? The river wasn't deep here, but it was fast, cold enough to kill. He lifted her. She weighed nothing. Like a bird with broken wings. His horse stood nearby, ears forward, watching. Ben settled her in front of the saddle and climbed up behind her. She leaned against him, shivering. The ride back to his cabin took 20 minutes. She didn't speak, didn't ask where they were going, just stared at the horizon with those empty green eyes. His cabin sat in a clearing. Small, simple. A place for a man who wanted to be alone. Ben kicked the door open and carried her inside. He set her by the fireplace. The embers from last night still glowed. "I need to get you warm," he said. She nodded, still silent. Ben threw logs on the fire. Flames caught and grew. Orange light filled the room. He found blankets, thick wool ones his mother had made years ago. He wrapped them around the woman until only her face showed. "What's your name?" he asked. She looked at him. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. "I don't know," she whispered. The words hung in the air like smoke. Ben felt something cold settle in his chest. "You don't know your name?" She shook her head. Tears filled her eyes. "I don't know anything, where I am, who I am, why I was in the water." Her voice broke. "I don't remember." Ben knelt beside her. He'd seen men lose their memories after being kicked by horses, after falling off roofs. But this was different. This was deeper. "It's all right," he said, though he wasn't sure it was. Sometimes after a shock the mind needs time. It'll come back. "What if it doesn't?" Her voice was so small, like a child's. "Then we'll figure it out together." She looked at him. Really looked at him. "Why are you helping me?" Ben didn't know how to answer that. Because it was the right thing. Because he'd seen too much death already. Because something in those green eyes made his heart ache. "Because you need help," he said finally. He made her soup, just broth and vegetables. She ate slowly, her hands shaking. The color started coming back to her cheeks. The blue left her lips. "Do you remember anything?" Ben asked. "Anything at all?" She closed her eyes. Her face twisted with concentration. "Water," she said. "Cold, dark, and fear. So much fear." Her eyes opened. "But I don't know why." Ben watched her. She was young, maybe 25, 26, pretty in a delicate way, like something that might break if handled roughly. Her hair, now drying by the fire, was dark brown, almost black. It fell in waves past her shoulders. "We need to call you something," he said, "until you remember." She looked down at her hands. "What would you call me?" Ben thought. "Eva," he said. The name just came to him. "Is that all right?" She tested it. "Eva." A small smile touched her lips. "Yes, that's good." The day passed slowly. Eva slept most of it, exhausted. Ben did his chores but stayed close to the cabin. He kept checking on her, making sure she was still breathing, still there. By evening, she was stronger. She sat at his small table while he cooked dinner, beans and cornbread. Simple food. "Do you live alone?" she asked. "Yes." "Why?" Ben stirred the beans. "Because I choose to." She didn't push. But he felt her watching him, curious, trying to understand the man who'd saved her. After dinner, Ben gave her his bed. He took the floor by the fire. It wasn't comfortable, but he'd slept in worse places. He listened to her breathing in the dark, steady, calm. Just before dawn he heard her gasp. He sat up. "What is it?" Eva stood by the window. The first light was breaking over the hills. She pressed her hand to the glass. "I saw someone," she whispered. Ben was beside her in 3 steps. "Where?" "There." She pointed to the ridge. "A rider, just standing there, watching." Ben stared into the growing light. He saw nothing, no horse, no rider, just empty land. "Are you sure?" Eva's hand trembled against the glass. I think so. But now," she shook her head. "Maybe I imagined it." Ben kept looking. The feeling in his gut said she hadn't imagined anything. Someone had been there, watching his cabin, watching her. "Is someone looking for me?" Eva asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. Ben turned to face her. In the pale morning light she looked fragile, breakable, but also determined, like she was ready to face whatever came next. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But if they are, they'll have to go through me first." Eva met his eyes. Something passed between them. Understanding, trust, the beginning of something neither of them could name yet. Outside the wind picked up. It carried the smell of rain, of secrets, of a past that wasn't ready to stay buried. And somewhere on that ridge, whether real or imagined, a rider turned their horse and disappeared into the coming storm. 3 days passed like a slow river. Eva moved through Ben's cabin like a ghost. She touched things carefully. The wooden table, the iron stove, the chipped cup he gave her for coffee, as if touching them might unlock something, some buried memory. Nothing came. "Try not to force it," Ben said one morning. He was mending a bridle. His hands worked the leather with practiced ease. "Memories are like wild horses. Chase them and they run. Stay still and they might come to you." Eva smiled. It was the first real smile he'd seen. "Is that cowboy wisdom?" "Something my father used to say." "Used to? He's gone now. 10 years. Eva sat across from him. "I'm sorry." Ben shrugged, but his hands paused on the leather. "Just for a moment, life out here is hard. People don't last as long as they should." She watched him work. His hands were scarred, calloused, working hands, but gentle when they needed to be. She'd seen that gentleness, when he'd pulled her from the river, when he wrapped blankets around her, when he made sure she ate. "Can I help?" she asked. Ben looked up, surprised. "You want to help?" "I can't just sit here. I'll go mad." He handed her a piece of leather. "Hold this end. Keep it taut while I stitch." They worked in silence. The only sounds were the needle punching through leather and the fire crackling. Outside, the wind moaned through the pine trees. "Do you know how to sew?" Ben asked. Eva looked at her hands. They moved automatically, keeping the leather steady. I think I do. My hands know, but my mind doesn't remember learning." "That's something. Your body remembers even if your mind doesn't." She thought about that. What else did her body remember? When she'd stood at the stove that morning, she knew how to make coffee. When she swept the floor, her hands moved with confidence, like she'd done it 1,000 times. "I was someone," she said quietly. "Before, I had a life. People who knew me, maybe people who loved me. Maybe they're looking for you." Eva's hands stilled. "That rider on the ridge. You think it was real?" Ben pulled the thread tight. "I think something spooked you. Whether it was real or a dream, your instinct told you to be afraid." "Should I be? Afraid?" He met her eyes. "I won't let anything happen to you." The promise hung between them. Heavy. Binding. That afternoon, Ben took her to the garden. It was small. Vegetables grew in neat rows. Tomatoes, beans, squash. He handed her a basket. "Pick what's ripe," he said. "I'll check the fence line." Eva knelt in the dirt. The sun was warm on her back. She picked tomatoes, feeling their weight in her palm. Red, firm, perfect. Something stirred in her chest. A feeling. Not quite a memory. More like an echo. She'd done this before. Picked vegetables in a garden. But where? When? Her head began to ache. She pressed her fingers to her temples. Images flickered. A larger garden. Different plants. Flowers. Yellow ones. What were they called? The images vanished. Eva sat back on her heels. Frustrated tears burned her eyes. So close. She'd been so close to remembering something real. Eva? She looked up. Ben stood at the edge of the garden. Concern creased his face. I almost remembered something, she said. Her voice shook. But it slipped away. He came to her, knelt beside her in the dirt. It'll come. Give it time. What if I don't have time? What if whoever I was before is in danger? What if someone needs me? Ben took her hand. His palm was rough against hers. Warm, solid, real. Then we'll figure it out. Together. But pushing too hard will only make it worse. I've seen it happen. Men who got kicked in the head. They tried to force the memories back and it just made things darker, confused them more. Eva looked at their joined hands. Why are you so good to me? You don't know me. I could be anyone. A thief. A liar. Someone running from the law. Are you? I don't know. That's the terrifying part. I don't know what kind of person I am. Ben's thumb brushed across her knuckles. I know. You're kind. You help without being asked. You're patient. You say thank you for every small thing. That tells me who you are. The rest is just details. Something warm bloomed in Eva's chest. Not a memory. Something new. Something that felt like hope. That evening they ate the vegetables she'd picked. Ben made them into a stew. They sat outside on the porch. The sky turned purple and gold. Stars began to appear. Tell me about this place, Eva said. About Wyoming. Ben leaned back. It's hard country. Beautiful but hard. Winters will kill you if you're not careful. Summers burn everything dry. But in spring, he smiled. In spring, wildflowers cover the hills, more colors than you can name. And the sky goes on forever. Do you like it here? Being alone? I chose it. After the war, I didn't want to be around people anymore. Too many memories. Too much noise. Out here, it's quiet, simple. Were you a soldier? Yes. Did you? She hesitated. Did you lose people? Ben's jaw tightened. Everyone lost people. Eva didn't push. She understood. Some wounds were too deep to talk about. She had her own wounds. She could feel them, even if she couldn't remember them. They sat in comfortable silence. Night settled around them like a blanket. Crickets sang. Somewhere far off, a coyote howled. Then Eva heard it. Hoofbeats. She stood. Ben. He heard it too. He was on his feet instantly. His hand went to the rifle beside the door. Get inside, he said. His voice was calm but firm. Ben. Inside. Now. Eva backed toward the door, but she watched. A rider appeared at the edge of the clearing. Just a shadow in the darkness. Horse and rider. Motionless. Watching. Ben raised the rifle. State your business. The rider didn't answer. Didn't move. Just sat there. Silent. Menacing. Eva's heart hammered. She knew that shape. She'd seen it before. On the ridge that first morning. It was the same rider. She was certain. This is private property, Ben called. Move on. Still nothing. Then slowly the rider turned the horse and disappeared back into the darkness. The hoofbeats faded. Silence returned. But the threat remained, hanging in the air like smoke. Ben lowered the rifle, but he didn't relax. Pack a bag. Just essentials. What? Why? He looked at her. His eyes were hard, determined, because whoever that was, they're not done, and I'm not waiting around to find out what they want. Eva's hands shook as she gathered her few belongings. The dress Ben had given her, a comb, the blanket. Everything she owned in this strange new life fit in a small cloth bag. When she came back outside, Ben had 2 horses saddled. His rifle was strapped to his saddle. He'd packed supplies. Food, water, ammunition. Where are we going? Eva asked. Town. There's a sheriff there. He needs to know someone's watching this place. Watching you. You think they're after me? I think you came from somewhere, and maybe someone wants you back, or wants to make sure you never remember where you came from. Fear coiled in Eva's stomach, but also something else. Determination. She wasn't going to run from shadows anymore. She was going to find the truth, even if it killed her. Ben helped her onto the horse. His hands lingered at her waist. You all right? Eva met his eyes. In the moonlight they were dark, intense, protective. I'm all right. They rode into the night. Away from the cabin, toward town, toward answers. Behind them, in the darkness, someone watched and smiled. The town of Clearwater sat in a valley like a handful of wooden boxes someone had tossed and forgotten. Ben and Ava rode in at dawn. The streets were empty except for a dog sleeping in the dust. Smoke rose from a few chimneys. The saloon was dark. Even the general store looked abandoned. "Not much, is it?" Ben said. Eva stared at the buildings. Something tugged at her mind, a feeling like she'd been in a place like this before. But not this place, somewhere else. They tied their horses outside the sheriff's office. Ben knocked. No answer. He knocked again. "Maybe he's not here," Eva said. The door opened. A man stood there, tall, thin, with a silver star pinned to his vest. His eyes were sharp, suspicious. "Ben Carter," he said. "Don't see you in town much." "Sheriff Hayes. We need to talk." The sheriff looked at Eva. His eyes narrowed. "Who's this?" "That's why I'm here." They went inside. The office was small. A desk, 2 chairs, a gun rack on the wall. Wanted posters covered one side. Eva's eyes scanned them automatically. None of the faces looked familiar, but her hands began to sweat anyway. Ben told the story, finding Eva in the river, her lost memory, the writer watching his cabin. The sheriff listened without interrupting. His face gave nothing away. "You remember anything at all, miss?" he asked when Ben finished. Eva shook her head. "Nothing before the river. It's all blank." "No name? No family? Nothing?" "Nothing." Sheriff Hayes leaned back in his chair. It creaked. "Well, that's quite a story." "It's the truth," Ben said. "I'm not saying it isn't. But you gotta understand how this sounds. Pretty girl shows up from nowhere. No past. No memory. Mighty convenient." Eva felt her cheeks burn. "Convenient? You think I chose this, to wake up not knowing who I am? To be terrified every moment that something terrible is chasing me?" The sheriff's expression softened. "Just slightly. I'm not accusing you of anything, miss. Just stating facts. We get drifters through here. Con artists. People running from things. Can't be too careful." "She's not a con artist," Ben said. His voice was hard. "How do you know? You've known her what, 4 days?" "I know." The 2 men stared at each other. Eva felt the tension like a physical thing. She stood. "I'll wait outside," she said. Ben started to protest, but she was already moving. She needed air, needed to think. The sheriff's words had planted doubt in her mind. What if she was running from something terrible? What if she'd done something unforgivable? Outside, the sun was higher now. The town was waking up. A woman swept the boardwalk in front of the general store. 2 men carried lumber down the street. A child ran past, chasing a hoop with a stick. Normal life. People who knew who they were, where they belonged. Eva walked to the general store. The woman with the broom stopped sweeping. She was older, maybe 60. Her face was kind. "Morning," the woman said. "Good morning. You're new here." It wasn't a question. Eva nodded anyway, just passing through. The woman studied her. "You look familiar. Have we met?" Eva's heart jumped. "I must be mistaken. I'm Martha. I run this place with my husband. I'm Eva." Martha smiled. "Pretty name. You here with that cowboy, Ben Carter?" "Yes. He's a good man. Keeps to himself, but he's honest. You could do worse." Eva felt her cheeks warm. It's not like that." Martha's smile widened. "Sure it isn't. Well, if you need anything, you come see me. A woman alone needs friends, even if she's not alone." Eva thanked her and moved on, but Martha's words stayed with her. "You look familiar." Had they met? Was Eva from this area? Was that why she'd ended up in the river nearby? She walked down the main street. Past the saloon, past a small church, past a building with a faded sign that read doctor, and then she saw it. A dress shop. Something pulled her toward it. She stood at the window. Dresses hung on mannequins, simple cotton ones. A fancy silk one in blue, and there in the corner a white dress, like the one she'd been wearing when Ben found her. Eva's breath caught, her vision blurred. Images flooded her mind. A room, candles, music playing somewhere. She was wearing that white dress, spinning, laughing. Someone held her hand. A man. She couldn't see his face, but she felt safe. Happy. Then the images shifted, shouting. The man's face twisted with anger, hands grabbing her. She was running, falling, water closing over her head. Eva gasped. The vision vanished. She was back on the street. Her heart raced. Her hands shook. "Miss, are you all right?" She turned. A young man stood there, maybe 25. Brown hair, blue eyes, concerned expression. "I'm fine," Eva managed. "Just dizzy for a moment." "You should sit down. Come on, there's a bench." He guided her to a bench outside the dress shop. She sat. He sat beside her, not too close. Respectful. "I'm Daniel," he said. "Daniel Morrison. I work at the livery stable." "Eva. Pretty name." He paused. "You're with Ben Carter, right? Saw you ride in together." "Yes. He's a good man. Saved my horse once when it got tangled in wire. Didn't even want payment." Eva managed a small smile. Everyone kept saying that. Ben was a good man. She believed it. She'd seen his gentleness, his patience, his determination to protect her. "Did you remember something?" Daniel asked. "Just now when you looked at the dress?" Eva looked at him. Should she tell him? Could she trust him? Maybe. "I'm not sure. Everything is so confused." "My aunt had that." After she fell off a wagon, hit her head. Took weeks, but her memory came back. Most of it anyway. Some things stayed gone. What things? The accident itself. She never remembered falling. Her mind just skipped over it. Doc said sometimes that happens. The brain protects itself from trauma. Trauma. That word settled in Eva's stomach like a stone. The images she'd seen, the shouting, the hands grabbing her. That was trauma. "Eva!" She looked up. Ben was striding toward them. His face was tight with worry. When he saw her sitting with Daniel, something flashed in his eyes, something dark. "I'm all right," she said quickly. "Daniel was just helping me." Ben reached them. He looked at Daniel. "Morrison. Carter." Daniel stood. "I was just making sure she was okay." She looked faint. "I'll take care of her." Daniel nodded, tipped his hat to Eva. "Ma'am, hope you feel better." He walked away. Ben sat where Daniel had been. What happened? Eva told him about the dress, the memories, the fragments of something dark and frightening. Ben listened, his jaw clenched. "We need to find out who you are," he said. "But safely. The sheriff's going to ask around, see if anyone reported a missing woman." "What if they did? What if whoever I was running from reports me missing? They'd have every right to take me back." "Not if you were in danger." "But I don't remember if I was. I don't remember anything for certain." Ben took her hand, right there on the main street where anyone could see. "Then we figure it out. Together, until we know the truth. You stay with me. Safe." Eva looked at their joined hands. She should pull away. It wasn't proper. They barely knew each other. But she didn't want to. His hand was an anchor, the only solid thing in a world that kept shifting. "There's something else," Ben said. His voice was low. "The sheriff found something. A report came in 2 days ago from a town east of here. A woman disappeared from her wedding. Ran away just before the ceremony. Her fiancé is looking for her." Eva's blood went cold. "Does he think it's me?" "The description matches. Dark hair, green eyes, about your age." "My wedding." Eva's voice was barely a whisper. "I was getting married. And I ran. We don't know that for sure. But it fits. The white dress, the memories of someone holding my hand, someone angry." Ben's grip on her hand tightened. "If you ran, you had a reason. Good women don't run from their weddings without cause." "Maybe I'm not a good woman." "Yes, you are. I know it." Eva wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at her. Who was she? What had she done? And was the man she'd run from the same man who'd been watching Ben's cabin? Somewhere in this valley, answers waited. But Eva wasn't sure she wanted to find them anymore. Because whatever truth lay buried in her missing memories, she had a terrible feeling it was going to destroy everything. They rode back to the cabin in silence. The sun hung low. Eva's mind churned with fragments. A wedding, a wedding, a man's face twisted with rage. Water, always the water. "Eva." Ben stopped his horse. "Whatever the truth is, you're not alone." Then they saw it. Smoke. Black. Thick. The cabin was burning. Flames ate through the roof. Everything Ben owned was burning. Don't! Eva grabbed his arm as he moved toward it. It's too late. This is because of me, she whispered. No, they did this because they're cowards. The sound of horse hooves. 3 riders emerged from the tree line. The man in the center was tall, handsome, cold eyes. Eva's blood turned to ice. She knew him. Hello, Eva, the man said. Or should I say Eleanor? Eleanor. The name hit her like a blow. Images flooded back. Richard. Richard Blackwood. She had promised to marry him. Ben stepped in front of her, his hand on his gun. You're not welcome here. Richard smiled. Eleanor, darling, come here. We're going home. No, I'm not going anywhere with you. Wedding jitters. Time to face your responsibilities. I was bought. The memory came rushing back. My father sold me to pay his debts. Richard's smile tightened. A business arrangement, everyone benefits. Except me. You would have lived well. Accept freedom. Accept love. Love is a luxury. You're a Whitmore. You have obligations. Whitmore. Eleanor Whitmore. Daughter of a gambler. She doesn't want to go with you, Ben said. Richard looked at Ben and dismissed him with a glance. My associates will testify Eleanor is unstable. I'm taking her to be properly cared for. You pushed me into that river. Silence. Careful. That's slander, Richard said. I remember. We were on the bridge. I said I wouldn't marry you, and you said that could be arranged. You fell. You were hysterical. You pushed me. Who will people believe? A respected businessman? Or a runaway bride? Ben's gun was out, aimed at Richard's chest. Get off my land. Threatening me won't end well. I have resources. Ride out now. Richard's men reached for their guns. The standoff stretched. Richard broke first. This isn't over. Contracts were signed. You owe me. I owe you nothing. The sheriff will hear about this. He'll be interested to hear about this fire. Richard pulled his horse around. There's nowhere you can run. You're mine. He rode off into darkness. Eva's legs gave out. Ben knelt beside her. You all right? I remember everything, she told him. Her father. The gambling. The debts. Richard appearing with his deal. The wedding she tried to escape. I ran before. My father locked me in my room, so I ran on my wedding day. Richard found me on the bridge. We fought. And the water swallowing her. Ben pulled her close. She cried. He can't have you, Ben said. You're not property. He has power, money, and I have a gun and a stubborn streak. Ben cupped her face. You became mine to protect. I don't give up what's mine. He kissed her, gentle, then deeper. The cabin was embers now, but he was smiling. What do we do? Eva asked. We fight. You're Eleanor Whitmore. But you're also Eva, the woman who survived, who learned to trust, who's brave. That woman doesn't belong to Richard Blackwood. She belongs to herself. Eva looked at the stars appearing overhead. Whatever came next, she would face it. Not alone, not afraid. Morning came soft and golden. Eleanor woke in the hotel room Ben had rented in Clearwater. She could hear the town waking up below. Horses, voices, the everyday sounds of life continuing. She wasn't Eva anymore, but she wasn't the old Eleanor either. She was something new. Someone who'd drowned and been reborn. Ben sat by the window. He hadn't slept much. She could see it in his face, the weight of what they were facing. We could leave, she said quietly. Head west, California, somewhere Richard can't find us. Ben looked at her. Is that what you want? To spend your life running? I want to be free. Then we stay. We fight. A knock at the door made them both tense. Ben's hand went to his gun. Who is it? Sheriff Hayes. Ben opened the door. The sheriff stood there with another man, older, well-dressed. He had kind eyes. This is Judge Morrison, the sheriff said. Daniel's father. He wanted to meet Miss Whitmore. The judge stepped forward. Miss Whitmore, I've reviewed the contract your father signed with Mr. Blackwood. May I come in? Eleanor nodded. They sat. The judge opened a leather case and pulled out papers. I won't mince words, he said. The contract is problematic. Your father did accept payment. But there's a clause here most people miss. It requires your willing consent at the time of marriage, not before, at the ceremony itself. Eleanor's heart jumped. I never gave consent. Exactly. You ran. That's legally clear refusal. Mr. Blackwood can demand return of his money, but he cannot force you to marry him. He'll say I'm mentally unfit, that the drowning damaged my mind. The judge smiled. I've spoken with Dr. Brennan. He examined you this morning while you slept. Quick examination. Ben arranged it. The doctor found you completely sound of mind. His written statement contradicts any claims of mental instability. Eleanor looked at Ben. He'd done this, protected her even while she slept. There's more, the sheriff said. I investigated the cabin fire, found boot prints, 3 sets. One matches a pair of boots worn by a man staying at the hotel, one of Blackwood's associates. He's been arrested for arson. Will he testify against Richard? Ben asked. For a reduced sentence? I'd bet on it. Hope bloomed in Eleanor's chest. So I'm free? Not quite, the judge said. Your father's debt remains. Blackwood will pursue repayment. Unless what? Unless someone else pays it. Ben's voice was quiet. Eleanor turned to him. No. Ben, you've already lost your home because of me. I won't let you. I have money, saved for years. Never had reason to spend it. Until now. I can't accept that. Ben took her hand. You're not accepting charity. Think of it as an investment in our future. Our future. The words hung in the air like a promise. Ben Carter, the judge said slowly. Are you proposing to Miss Whitmore? Ben looked at Eleanor, really looked at her. If she'll have me, I know it's fast. I know we barely know each other in some ways, but I know the important things. I know you're brave. I know you're kind. I know I want to wake up every morning and see your face. So yes, I'm asking, will you marry me? For real this time. Because you want to. Not because you have to. Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. Happy ones this time. Yes. God, yes. The judge cleared his throat. Well then, I can perform the ceremony, today if you'd like. Make it official before Blackwood causes more trouble. Today, Eleanor said. She looked at Ben. Is that too fast? I pulled you from a river 4 days ago. Fast seems to be our way. They married that afternoon, in the small church. Martha from the general store stood as witness. Daniel Morrison and Sheriff Hayes attended. It was simple. Quick. Nothing like the elaborate wedding Eleanor's father had planned. It was perfect. Eleanor wore a simple blue dress Martha lent her. No white this time. White was for the girl who'd almost died. Blue was for the woman who chose to live. When Ben kissed her, she tasted freedom. Richard Blackwood appeared as they left the church. His face was dark with rage. You can't do this. The contract is void, the judge said. And your associate has confessed to arson. I suggest you take your money and leave town, Mr. Blackwood, before I find more charges to file. Richard looked at Eleanor. For a moment she saw something in his eyes. Not love. He'd never loved her. But ownership. Loss. The fury of a man who didn't get what he believed he'd bought. You'll regret this, he said. No, Eleanor replied. I really won't. He left. Rode out of town with his remaining man. Eleanor watched him go and felt nothing. No fear. No regret. Just relief. Ben wrapped his arm around her. Mrs. Carter has a nice sound. It does. They stood there as the sun set. The same sun that had risen on her drowning. The same sky that had witnessed her fear. But everything was different now. We need to rebuild the cabin, Ben said. We will. Together. It won't be easy. Money's tight now. We'll have to work hard. Eleanor smiled. I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm not afraid of anything anymore. And she meant it. She'd faced death, faced her past, faced a man who tried to own her, and she'd won, not because she was strong alone, but because she'd learned to trust, to accept help, to believe she deserved love. They walked down the street, hand in hand, toward their future, toward a small plot of land where they'd build something new, not just a cabin, a life, a home, a family. Behind them, the church bells rang. The sound carried across the valley. A celebration, a new beginning, the end of one story and the start of another. Eleanor Whitmore Carter had been lost in a river, but she'd found something more valuable than memory in those cold waters. She'd found herself, and she'd found love. The kind of love that didn't demand or control, the kind that set you free. The evening star appeared in the purple sky. Eleanor made a wish on it. Not for rescue, not for safety, just for this, for Ben's hand in hers, for tomorrow and all the tomorrows after, for the beautiful, difficult, precious gift of choosing her own life. And somewhere in that vast Wyoming sky, her wish was already coming true. And the end. If this story of survival, courage, and unexpected love touched your heart, don't forget to like and subscribe to Wild West Untold Love for more tales of redemption on the frontier. And if a moment or a feeling in this story stayed with you, we'd love to hear it in the comments below. Because sometimes the strongest souls are forged in the darkest places, and the greatest love stories begin with the simplest act of kindness.